So, after being here last year, and after 10 plus years without talking with my children and my wife, it was easy, very easy, to reconnect with my daughter. Wonderful. She was easy to talk. Now I can play with my grandkids. I know my son-in-law. Wonderful.
Doesn't have to take 10 years.
Yeah, exactly. You have to want to.
Yeah.
That's what you told me.
Yeah.
My wife, my ex-wife, the same thing. It was fantastic.
Yeah.
Why is it?
Who changed, them or you?
I changed. And that's my question. Who is it? Why is it that my son doesn't want to talk to me? Or is it I that don't want to talk to him?
Well, it's a little bit of both, but what it mostly is your awareness that he's not talking yet.
I don't feel ready to talk?
We wouldn't even say that you don't feel ready to talk. We would say that you're aware that you're not talking. This is subtle stuff. If you were talking, then you'd talk more. But since you're not talking, then you're not talking more. It's the byproduct of offering your vibration in response to what you're doing. And so just by remembering that there was a time when you weren't talking to the others either, and now you are, so let that be the dominant vibration within you. And don't try to make it about what he's doing, and don't be hard on yourself either. Just soften it by saying some things need more time, and all is well here, and things are working out, and is in the process of becoming. And you might even say, if you wanted to be real accurate, he's the one who's the most like me.
Yesterday, my ex-wife, his mother, saying, Thanksgiving coming. Don't you want to try again, writing him a note and invite him for a coffee to chat? And I said, you saw the last few times that I did.
Well, remember what we were saying earlier. Your relationship is more about your vibration than it is about what you're doing. And so don't let other people try to prod you into behavior. Do what you feel like doing. This is the key to getting everything that you want. Don't let what is be the dominant vibration. People get stuck in that. You are so enamored with what is, and what is different than what's coming. So if you're focusing on what is, then what's coming can't get there. What you focus on always dominates. So if you focus on where you're going rather than where you are, then it unfolds to that, you see. But on subjects like this that you've thought so much about, it's better to just stay off the subject and just focus on the other things that are working out the way you want them to, the other things from which you are taking pleasure. So we have some questions for you. These are big questions, and you know the answer to every one of them, so it will be easy. Do you take pleasure from the thoughts you think about this son?
Most of the time.
Right. That was an honest answer. Well, it was an attempt at being honest, because the true answer is sometimes.
Sometimes.
Not most of the time.
Oh, most of the time.
No.
No?
Not most of the time. You want it to be most of the time, but you're deceiving yourself. You're deceiving yourself by saying, I'm taking pleasure. What's happened is you've become accustomed to uncomfortable thoughts. And so you are calling uncomfortable thoughts not so much uncomfortable and more comfortable, but they are not comfortable thoughts. We didn't say, can you endure? We ask a very specific question. Are you taking pleasure? Pleasure is a big word. Pleasure is a word that's calibrated to your source energy. When we say, are you taking pleasure from your thoughts about your son? That's equivalent to saying, are you thinking about your son in the same way your inner being thinks about your son?
Most of the time, yes.
No, because if that were true, the progress would have already been made, because this has been going on for a while. So there's something that you think you're doing that you're really not doing, and it's really worth having this conversation about. Tell us some of the thoughts that you're thinking about your son. Yeah.
I think, well, when I see pictures of him or videos of him playing with her first daughter, I like it. I love it. He's having his life. I cannot assert my willingness, my will to talk to him.
We know all of this, and we know that you know all of this, but this conversation that you're giving to us, accurate as it is not a conversation that is evoking pleasure. You're facing reality right now. I can't make it different. We're asking you if you take pleasure from your thoughts about your son. And the answer is
no.
Not very often.
No.
And so now we have another really big question for you. Do you believe that you've already done step one and ask for a reconciliation?
That's a good question.
We're really going back deep, and it's easy for you to find the answer to this. And what we mean by that is, when you know what you don't want, do you know what you do want? And don't you think you've had enough years of knowing what you don't want that you've asked for what you do want? So don't you think the answer to I have asked is unequivocally yes? I have asked, I do know what I want. I do know. Don't you know? Don't you feel like you've asked?
Yes.
And if you were to put it into words, what would that asking be? Be as general as you can. I want a delicious relationship with this person. And so you've asked. And from what you know about the law of attraction and what we talk about here, do you believe that it's been answered, that there's a vibrational reality where that's already taken place? Do you believe that there's a vibrational reality where you and your son are both cooperative components to this relationship that is eternal between the two of you? Do you believe that?
Yes.
So step one and step two have happened, haven't they? So then step three is just about you being in the receiving mode. And this is the thing that we want you to hear, all of you. Step three doesn't say, you have to be in the receiving mode about this subject. It just says you have to be in the receiving mode. Did you get that? Because you already asked about this subject and you've already been answered about this subject. Now get off the subject that's keeping you from the receiving mode, and you'll be in the receiving mode, and then you'll get what you want. That's the answer to everything that you want. But as humans, you sometimes think that you have to suffer harder. All those old records are playing, and those records are some of the records that your wife is playing to you. Don't you think you could try a little harder, and don't you think you could reach out a little more, and maybe if you wrote a letter and said this and this and this? That's not what's going on. This is not an action problem. This is a vibrational problem, and all a vibrational problem ever is a habit of thought that keeps going even though it's not in harmony with what you now want. And so when you stay off the subject, you'll let that habit subside. The habit will subside if you'll stay off the subject, because you've got so much powerful momentum about family things coming together going. Did you hear that? Did you hear that? Did you hear that? Whew, that's powerful. So when we say, have you gotten together with your son? We want you to say, who? Who? Now the world would say, oh, Abraham, are you really teaching him detachment? Just verbal detachment, just action detachment. You can never detach from the vortex version that you've got going on. And so just stop beating the drum of what isn't happening and savor the wonderful things that are happening, and then wonderful things that could happen that aren't happening will happen.
I understand that, and I've been telling
you
family.
are like a dog on a bone. You're going to approach this from your vantage point, and you can't undo what we just did, but you're going to hold yourself from receiving it longer because you feel like you want to defend yourself a little bit.
A little bit, but no. I see. Here's a picture of your son with your granddaughter. How can I not look? I don't want to look at it. Who? So at this point,
go ahead, try it your way, and in 10 years we'll have the same conversation again. How's that working out?
No, in general,
we ask you a very powerful question. Do you take pleasure from your thoughts about your son?
Very.
So if you're not taking pleasure from your thought about something, what's the bottom line that Abraham always teaches? Stop focusing on it. If you can find a way to find pleasure in it, then go for it. But if you find more pleasure by staying off the subject, now in order for this to make sense, and in order for you to not go on the rampage against what we're teaching here, you have to understand this all-important premise. You've already asked and it's already been answered. So you are not forsaking your son. You've done the most important things. You've asked and it has been answered, and now you're doing the only thing that you can do. You've decided to no longer block it.
All right.
How can I be blocking it? By yearning when you look at the picture, by feeling the offness of it when you look at the picture, by acknowledging worked with that one, worked with that one, worked with that one, worked with that one, doesn't work with that one.
Okay.
You got it.
Got it.
Have fun with it. Take pleasure from it.
More question? Quick.
So did you get that? Take pleasure from the things that it's easy to take pleasure from, and don't try to work the things that you can't take pleasure from them into the act. That's the Castle Button story. If you think it's easy, then you've got no resistance. A desire that you believe is a done deal. A desire that you doubt is way slower.
So recently I had a very interesting thing happening to me. And, I had a meeting, business meeting, and I knew there was going to be a roughness, confrontation. But I was preparing myself, not with action, not preparing the best slides or the best information. I was just...
So wait, you've decided that you're going to take pleasure from this segment in life, but you've orchestrated a meeting that you know is going to be unpleasant. And you walked willingly into it?
Okay. I'm fine. Let's stay with it.
It's the same subject, isn't it? It's exactly the same subject.
Right.
That's why we were eager to let you move into the next thing, because it's the same exact thing, isn't it? I know this isn't going to feel good, but I'm going to go there anyway, because in future life experiences, people that taught me that if I struggle and try hard, that I'll get results. It's never been true. It's not true now, but it is a habit that most humans have. You're not different in that. You're doing extremely well. Things are really lining up for you all over the place.
Thank you.
But you are stubborn.